Mark is pressing all the
I'm
buttons.
pressing all the buttons right now, and I'm like, what's going on? Why is this not going live? What's
Uh,
happening here? Alrighty, guys. We are on the wrong lead, and no, this is not Saratoga Daily.
Mark is pressing all the
I'm
buttons.
pressing all the buttons
Oh
right
man,
now,
I
and
gotta
I'm
mute
like,
that.
what's
One
going
second.
on? Why is this? So
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know. Jeez, I have way too many feeds going on. Anyways, we are on the wrong lead, and our normal host Josh is here but not hosting. I got suckered into hosting duties tonight because Josh is on vacation, and so much vacation he decided he would jump on and join us out anyways. Yeah, so Josh, how's Vegas?
Good, man. So yeah, I'm gonna do a quick little walk through here in my room here, just because this is really nice. So I'm
This
actually staying at the
fucking
Venetian out
guy.
here.
Yeah,
You
this
can see
guy,
the
of course.
yeah, you can see the Mirage out there. And then yeah, we're just we got a nice little room here at the Venetian. They had a deal actually if you were like if you worked at like a hospital or worked at a grocery store or whatever, they gave you a free night. And so my wife works for Aldi, which is a grocery chain, and I work IT at a hospital. So, you know, they had like some essential worker deal. So we got a really great rate. It was kind of like once in a lifetime because we normally stay at cheaper properties. So we're like, we'll just do it. And we booked a long time ago. We probably booked in May, thinking that by August, everything's gonna be fine. Like, no problem. And sure enough, it's fucking empty. I mean, I sent you guys some pictures. Like, there is just like, there's like nobody here. I think I was reading online that they are during the week they're operating at about 30% occupancy, and at the end of and the weekend they're operating at 50% occupancy. And so, oddly enough, I've not had a great run so far at the slot machines or at the tables or anything. Um, the last machine I was at, I got really close to the machine with my mask on, of course, because you have to wear your mask. And I whispered to the machine, shout out, keep pounding, and I hit
Big shout out, keep pounding.
yeah, I hit the spin button. I hit a bonus, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, finally, dude!" I think it was like the first bonus I hit the whole time. So fucking keep pounding keeps on coming along. What I will tell you though is I think it was 80 cents a bet, and the bonus paid me $1.40. So I didn't even get 2x on it. So yeah, this was it wasn't even money. It was like a fucking 4 to 5 shot. So I don't know.
For
I think
from what I've
Saratoga.
from what I've seen of the craps tables, there's a lot of plexiglass, and it's like combining like craps and visiting your uncle in prison is the kind of the vibe
So
that I got from it.
the funniest part is if you've ever seen those
Stay up,
digital
Onk.
craps machines, if you've ever seen those digital craps tables, where like it's like push the button and all that really annoying ass shit.
Yes.
Uh,
Th-
you're always like, man, you can only fit like 8 people here. Like, what the fuck? Like, like this isn't like a craps table. But the craps table, I think, can only have 6 people now. So right now, that fucking digital machine can hold more people than the actual craps table. So, it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's just weird. We've everything's operating at lower capacity and stuff. But my wife and I don't really like crowds, so it's been nice. We walked over to the Palazzo, which isn't open during the week, hotel wise, but the casino's open, and literally, dude, there was probably like 20 people in the entire casino. It was fucking amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. Like I was like, please just always stay like this, but somehow make money. Like this needs to be a thing. Um, but yeah, no, it's been fun. We had a little bit of a credit card issue with just because apparently they decided that they need to hold on to our money for 15 days before they apply it to our balance, which was kind of weird. But other than that, we've had a good time.
Spectacular.
Yeah,
Good for you.
yeah. Somebody gets to take vacations. Yes.
Where's our boy Caleb at?
He won a tournament today, and I'm assuming therefore his he's working on a good argument at the moment. That's the guess.
Yeah, he's got to qualify for the BCBC on Saturday.
He wants that
so
BCBC qualify
so
bad.
He's sowing the seeds now.
You know what I like? How you'll wear just anything.
he's just like grabbing some socks from like the hamper, and he's just like fucking like putting them like by the dishes for no reason.
You know, in that light, you look like your mom.
So anyways, I did say we are on the wrong lead. I'm Mark. Obviously, everybody knows Josh in the top left, and I don't think I actually plugged Chase. So Chase is in the top right.
JustPickWinners.net.
Yeah, JustPickWinners.net. Chase, guy on the ground of Oaklawn on the Twitter sphere. It takes 5 minutes to finish all of his plugs. Worst thing ever. I don't know if Josh has the form in front of him, but we're going to talk a little bit of Saratoga Stakes action. Oh, and I guess I should say, before we get to the Saratoga Stakes, what's everybody got in their glass?
I have a completely, probably overpriced Speyside blend from just some like random shop that we were walking past, and it pulled us in, and my wife was like, this looks like fun. Like, they had like a bunch of different like liqueurs. To their credit, they pretty much let us try every single fucking thing in that place. So we probably got something like 10 to 15 samples. And I think we might have gotten a buzz just from sampling everything. So I'm going to give them a little credit. But yeah, this is like a Speyside blended scotch. It's really nice. It's got a touch
of, we get it. You're on vacation. Take forever, why don't you?
All right, Chase, what are you drinking?
I've got a nice little Elijah Craig 18-year that was sent to me by Polka Dot Taylor. Big shout out to Polka Dot Taylor. Thank you once again. This is the third of the 4 samples that he sent me that I've managed to go through. So this is it's excellent. It's delicious. I'd put it on my Wheaties if I could. But that would mean I have a drinking problem, so I don't.
Well, or you don't let it see when you do. I'm drinking a little bit of Jefferson Reserve, very old, very small batch. It's one of their single barrels that I picked up at a New Hampshire liquor retailer where they had a whole bunch of them, and had some interesting stuff. I need to give it a little more minute here to figure out if I really enjoy it or not.
Named for George Jefferson. Many don't know that. He was a man who owned a dry cleaner with his wife Wheezy, and they moved on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
What's the proof on that, Mark?
They have it listed as 90.2.
Oh, that's kind of low. I was gonna say if it was a little bit higher proof, maybe it just needs a little time to open up. But I mean, Scotch. There's a couple of Scotches that are lower proof that most people say after the neck pour, if you let it open up a little bit, they get a little better. So I know for sure. So speaking of Polka Dot Taylor, I sent him a couple of samples of some store picks. I don't have the access that he does to some of the rare stuff, but I do have. There's a liquor store by me that does a shit ton of volume, and so it's like a chain. So they always have a bunch of different store picks. So I send them a couple out there, out his way, and there was one that I wasn't really a big fan of. I thought it was just way too hot. And when I sent Polka Dot Taylor 5 different samples, and that was the one he picked as the best one. So I'm guessing that I haven't had it in probably about a week and a half, so maybe it's opened up a little bit. So I'm actually kind of excited to go back and taste that one again.
Yeah, this Jefferson has that classic Jefferson profile. I mean, Jeffersons are, weeded. They're not super. It's not super hot. It's kind of, mellow on the flavor complexion. And they had like tasting notes for each of the barrels. So I got one that had a bunch of, I think it said something like sour apple flavor and some also some brown sugar to it. And I mean, I can taste both those in there. It's just not super complex. I expect a little more, but I'm gonna give it a little time to open up and maybe it gets a little better.
It's got that deluxe apartment in the sky flavor.
Deluxe?
This is obviously a man who's never seen the Jeffersons.
Nope.
And given his rural upbringing, and the fact that BET was more than likely just left off of his cable package as a child, I'm gonna say he's never watched an episode of the Jeffersons.
You cannot get cable at my house. I have never had cable. I actually have satellite, and I've only had that for probably 8 or 10 years, maybe something like that.
That's funny.
I missed a whole part of the stuff. I just
We're
don't have it.
gonna bring up good times. He's like, what good times? What good times are you talking about?
Easy credit ripoffs. Good times. Hanging in a chow line. Good times.
Hanging in a chow line.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Can't take two of you anywhere.
Where's Caleb? Get Caleb.
Yeah.
on here.
No, and honestly, the reason I want Caleb on here is I wanted him to talk about this stakes race on Friday because there's some horses that are like Caleb specials in here, and we don't have a Caleb, so Chase and I will have to go on rants about horses that we don't necessarily love in here. But the stakes is the Perfectly Strong. It's a 1.16 miles on the inner for fillies and mares 4 years old and upward. Yeah, there's a couple of horses in here that I find pretty darn interesting. You got Cafe Americano, who was in the Chad Brown Witness Protection Plan since last fall in October after sort of flopping in the QE2. The one I thought Caleb would get super excited to talk about is Altia, who's one of his favorite horses that hates getting her photo taken. But Chase, what are your thoughts on here?
Actually, I'm a big fan of Cafe Americano. I feel like Cafe Americano ran a huge race. Granted, it was a long ass time ago in the Pucker Up at Arlington. I kind of like the pace setup that I'm seeing. Well, not necessarily the pace setup, but the pace figures in terms of it's going to be a little bit more forwardly placed depending on who goes. And I feel like there's a little bit of a question mark on who's actually going to go. Got a good closing kick out of Cafe Americano, and then I feel like you can't really overlook the fact that Cafe Americano is the Peter Brandt horse of the two Chad Brown entries. So yeah, fell a little bit flat in the QE2 Cup, but ran a really good race in the Pucker Up. Granted, that's kind of the Chad Brown, the Chad Brown Derby day is the Arlington Million Day, but. I think that the big question here is going to be who really goes, especially with what we saw on the turf course today. You saw some horses that put up some opening quarters sub 24 seconds, which that's pretty damn quick on the inner turf so far, and just carried a little bit of a conveyor belt. There's one natural candidate, which is going to be Chaleur at 6-1. The one that has actually showed any interest of running, somewhat forwardly placed, maybe even on the lead. Based off of pace figures, Pied Bianchi is the one that looks like that it would be on the lead. I've got a little bit of a theory, Mark, and that is a horse that you've never seen run on the front is going to do that to set it up for the Peter Brandt entry, Cafe Americano, and it's going to be Altia.
Yeah, I sort of had the same vibe in here. I went through and handicapped this race, and I kept going, okay, who ends up on the front end here? Because you have Chaleur, and I mean, Chaleur is sort of the obvious horse who should want to be on the front end. But I don't know. Does Chaleur actually want to be on the front end? If you look at that last race at a mile, horse was third at first call, and then the race prior to that at a mile and an eighth, the horse was I don't know, second at first call. So I don't necessarily know if Chaleur really wants to be. I think the horse is the most likely to be forwardly placed, but I don't know if Chaleur really ends up on the front end here, and I sort of had a hard time try to figure out, like, okay, who really gets to be, who really ends up on the lead here. It's sort of a head scratcher from a pace perspective, but I understand what you're saying in thinking that the Altia, who hates to win and has never been anywhere near the lead, maybe the setup horse. I mean, I don't hate that. I don't even know who in here I want, quite honestly, because the turf today was playing very speed favoring, yet sort of wanted to be on or just off the lead. I think we had 3 or 4 horses wire. Who really is the horse you want? I'm sort of baffled in here at who ends up on the lead.
I took a quick look. I took a quick look at this, and I was a little interested in PD Bianchi, but this is the first time that the horse is trying turf.
Yeah, P. Bianchi hit, or no, it looks like it has one turf start in January of 2019. Yielding turf at Gulfstream was 6 by 4 lengths. Showed some speed in there, but nothing crazy in Gulfstream Park terms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the problem with PD Bianchi is you get a tax accountant, I believe, David Cohen, CPA board, and like
The
David Cohen is,
Taxminch.
yeah, he's fine. I mean, like, he's not great by any means. I mean, but on the dirt, he's fine. On the turf, I would rather take probably about 3/4 of the Jock Colony than David Cohen on the turf. But and also David Cohen is the only person I think on all Twitter that has me blocked. So there's that. So fuck David Cohen. But yeah, I mean, I kind of came up with the three horses that you guys have all kind of talked about. I've bet Altia like probably the past like 4 times that horse has run, and that horse has never just like always looks like best on paper, and then fucking finishes third, more than probably, I don't know.
Okay, the
I would
horse.
say more than any horse I know, but I feel like I have like 20 horses that I've bet all the time that look the best on paper and then fucking finish third. So, you were
Yeah,
saying, Mark?
I was gonna say that Altia. If you look at a horse that's got 20 starts, has 2 wins, but 7 seconds and 4 thirds. This is
Yeah.
not a horse. I mean, if you're somebody who's a figures person, the horse jumps off the page and you just kind of single Altia. I mean, Altia is the horse that on figures is the logical, obvious horse, but yeah, I want to go somebody else in here. Um, and I sort of ended up in this. Okay, what other direction do you go? Obviously you have, Cafe Americano, who's the other Chad, but needs to improve quite a bit. It is the Peter Brandt horse, and I think I probably want more Cafe Americano than I do Altia. But Cafe Americano is 2-1 on the morning line. That's way too short. I would need probably double those odds to really get excited about this horse. Peter Bianchi, I don't think is a turf horse, and I think Martin Carlos is just taking a shot after they've really haven't been able to do anything here at a level. They're trying to turn this back into a turf horse. Altia, maybe she wins, but I don't think I want her on any tickets. Feel Glorious, the Clement horse, getting some class relief here, definitely. I don't hate this one here, and is usable at the right price, but probably gets the same sort of setup that maybe like Altia's getting, that probably needs, is pace dependent, needs something to happen in front. And so I ended up on the two outside horses, were my two favorites. Chaleur, the Bill Mott horse, who Chase was talking could go all the way on the front end. The other horse is Secret Message, who we really haven't talked about yet. There could be a chance that this one ends up on or just off the lead, gets that really nice stalking trip. It shows a horse that has never been on the lead, but has shown some ability to have pace, and definitely can fly home late. I like the Grand Motion Johnny V combo. It's been real good at Saratoga so far. Obviously,
So
Motion House, yeah.
the only question is, has the horse ever been on the wrong lead?
Wah, 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 wah.
See, this is the Josh. Josh. No, I mean I'm sure probably has been on the wrong lead more than once, but
We're getting childless, like kooky vacation dad Josh right now. It's just like away from the office. Fuck it, I'm gonna make all the dad jokes. I feel like you kids can just listen.
Did you say cookieless? Because I definitely had a cookie for breakfast.
Of course you did, Josh. Of course you did.
I agree, Mark. My top pick here is Chaleur from a quick look. Chaleur looks to be on the front end. It's really hard to do this all off my phone, so I don't remember who's on. Is it Castellano or is it Velasquez on
JJ's on
Chaleur?
Chaleur.
Yeah, JJ's on Chaleur.
Yep.
There's 2 other Chad Brown horses here, and you got JJ up on Chaleur. I'm sure that maybe is Rosario still running Altia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised they went back to that well after.
The one that I find more interesting is Johnny V appears to have gotten off from Chaleur to ride Secret Message. Looks like he had choice, and he'd ridden both the two of them in the last 2 starts. So to me, that makes Secret Message even a little more interesting.
So
I just think with the way the turf's been playing, at least I know for sure today. I didn't watch much yesterday, but at least it seems like like being forwardly placed is where you kind of want to be. I didn't see too many horses closing from the clouds, but Shallur is going to have that tactical advantage. I think being on the front end and still having a little bit of a closing kick. So assuming there's no Naira ridiculousness, I see Shallur being either in first or second there, first and second call, and I think is gonna get first run there. So
my prop bet is going to be that Altia is the horse that's never run on the lead is going to be hard sent, and it's just not. People are going to be going fucking crazy whenever it happens, but my money is on that happening, setting it up for the Brant horse. If that doesn't happen, then I 100% think that there's absolutely no reason that Shallur could not, steal this from the front end. With Feel Glorious, that outside horse that you mentioned, I'm a little bit wary of 2-0-0 at Saratoga. However, looking at the competition that Feel Glorious has faced in those two starts, you have like a race where Sister Charlie won and Rushing Fall ran second. So that might be reading a little bit too much into it. Also haven't, heard much from Grand Motion. So I'm going to go ahead and say Cafe Americano or Shallur with Altia being the rabbit for Peter Brant. So that he can.
Who's riding the Grand Motion horse?
Johnny Velasquez's.
Johnny Velasquez, okay. There's a couple of things that I've kind of noticed with two trainers in particular, specifically Orlando Noda, and Grand Motion. And this could just be me being like, I don't know, maybe just like only seeing this a couple times and just assuming this is a thing. But usually, if those two trainers have Jose Ortiz aboard, I pay attention. Because it seems like Jose Ortiz gets aboard for those two trainers anytime the horse is live, and seems to be like, I don't know if Jose just like loves riding for them, but anytime Jose rides those two trainers, I feel like that horse is live. So if we had like a Jose Ortiz aboard, that Grand Motion horse, I might be maybe a little more interested. But like you said, Mark, you see Velasquez jumping aboard the horse, so JV's pretty good on the turf as well. So
yeah, Grand Motion's one win on the Saratoga meet happened to have Johnny Velasquez up on the turf. So it seems like Graham.
So of course, as usual, I'm wrong. Okay, I get it, Mark. I get it.
I mean,
God, fucking relax and get a daiquiri or something, Josh. Jesus Christ!
I'll go pour myself more scotch. That's fine.
You're out of town. Fucking unwind, man. Don't take things so personally.
Dude, this lighting is just crazy over here. I gotta put you on this side now.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, we've sort of beat this one to death, and part of the reason we're beating this one to the death.
What's the chat saying? You got anything going on in chat there?
Not much. I don't know. Evil Bob Dole is asking why we don't let Chase talk more. John Massey's complaining about the general quality of the Saratoga jockey colony. Dennis is complaining because I'm moving the screen around too much. So, I mean, besides that, I mean, yeah, nothing much.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, man.
And I don't see Dennis's picks up yet, and we haven't thanked Dennis for joining us, but I don't see his picks in this race. So I have a feeling that Dennis is playing the same game we're all doing and trying to understand where on earth pace comes from here. And, damn it, Chase.
Where is,
Where I do?
Do we have Keep Pounding in chat? Because we shouted him out like 7 times. Shout out Keep Pounding. Where the hell is he?
I haven't seen him talking yet.
Goodness gracious. Dude, I checked in. He literally messaged me and is like, hey, we got to keep the streak alive. So I literally joined to make sure that the shout out happened.
Oh, you couldn't trust me. You couldn't trust me with shouting out Keep Pounding.
I knew you had it on lock. However, I wanted to show him how serious we were about keeping the streak alive by checking in while I'm on vacation. I've spent more time on here than I have on work emails, which apparently I am just like fucking awful at not checking work emails when I'm on vacation, but I've done a good job so far this week. Yeah, so.
Big shout out Ratchet Rachel, number 2 fan of the show.
Oh, Ratchet Rachel.
Yeah. So what I was going with, we've been chatting this one to death because, quite honestly, and I was hoping Caleb would be here to talk this up a little bit because I know he's more the Delmar guy. Delmar's card's a little bit soft this weekend. Saratoga's got some stuff going on, but they Naira decided with COVID that they were going to shift a lot of the big weekends around, and it is Alabama, but the undercard races stakes wise sort of suck. And
Yes.
really, there's only 3 solid stakes at Saratoga between Friday and Saturday. There, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be good maiden racing. There's going to be some good climbing and allowance fields. Obviously, you're always going to have good competitive racing there with the big purses, but just not as great of a card as we're historically used to seeing at Saratoga on Bama Day.
Yeah, I would agree. Usually we get very excited about Bama Day, and we share the Forrest Gump gif back and forth over and
Way
over.
more times than it should be shared. Yes.
Alabama!
Oddly enough, this was the weekend I was going to be in Saratoga. I think we had kind of talked. We were going back and forth, and I was gonna come in July, but I think me, Clamps, and Mark were talking, and I think both Clamps and I couldn't come in July, and so we were looking at August. And I even think Pump the Yams, shout out Putty. I think he was gonna take that Domino's money, Domino's and Railroad money, and make his way on up to Saratoga this weekend as well. So we were gonna have a nice big meetup this weekend, but good thing.
It's like we're getting a shock and awe, like preemptive bombing campaign of the vacations that Josh is on and that he has ever planned to be on. It's like he's showing me like a preemptive slideshow, just like, this is where me and Pooty were gonna hang out.
These are the season tickets at the Cubs that he was gonna let me snatch a couple of, so that way we can go to a couple games. This was the golf course we were gonna meet up with Cash.
This is the mirage outside my window. Even though it's called a mirage, you can't really see if things really there. Blah, blah, blah.
It's called the Mirage because it's not open right now.
This fucking guy.
See, it always revolves right around to Josh's vacation.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I took like 3 minutes to look at that last race, and I have not looked at any other races, so I'm going to hop off and let you guys handle this. I was hoping by now that Caleb would have jumped aboard, but it looks like he must really be getting prepared for this.
Jess has finally had enough. He is in the trunk of her car right now, on the way to a swampy area outside of Slidell, Louisiana.
Yeah, Caleb, please blink twice if you are in immediate danger. Okay,
you can use the emergency call.
Yeah, Josh.
Right,
Josh, it's her live stream just went live, so get your ass over to the El Cortez, okay?
Oh, you want me to get over to El Cortez?
Hey,
so
give her the El Cortez.
I can creep on her.
So you can
I
mean just say I have this really great friend. He likes to drive Lambos. He's a bit of a degenerate, and you two should meet up. I mean, that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna go over great. I'll see what happens. I'll report back. All right, I'll see you guys
later. Jay. Okay, so we are one member. We are one member lighter, and head on to the Saratoga Derby, which is the sort of big prep race for, well, I don't know, whatever. It's the race before the Alabama. And honestly, I thought this was a pretty competitive affair. If you could get around one or so horse in here, I think. So what were you seeing in here, Chase?
Well, it's really all going to end up being bias dependent on, I'm hesitant to say definitively what my strategy is going to be going into this game, going into this race, before we see what the track looks like on Saturday, because if it's a speed favoring track, then I got to go Colonel Liam. Get Smoking is another, early speed type horse that I think could get out there and run on the front. But I feel like Get Smoking is also very much distance compromised, and we'll get out there and burn it out on the front end, and definitely won't have the carry necessary to make it home. So I like Colonel Liam from that standpoint. If I'm going to be looking for an early speed horse on that day, without that, I kind of see maybe Get Smoke. If it's a fair track, Get Smoking. Getting out there and burning it up and maybe bringing in, sucking in Decorated Invader or Colonel Liam with him. And then I'm really interested in Guffo if, the front end just comes apart on this with a, huge closing kick. Doesn't like to stay as, close to the lead as we've, been seeing the last couple days. But, that's a huge late speed figure that I'm seeing out of Guffo, and I'd be willing to take it just on a pace setup standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, this race to me, and I set it up for you, and you didn't go quite the direction I thought you were going to talk. I think the race begins and ends the conversation, at least with Decorated Invader, who, won the Hall of Fame earlier on this meet. Was prepping in the Pennington Ridge down at Belmont, comes up and kind of wanted a romp under Rosario. And you're seeing that the 7-5 morning line here, but the problem is with how the track's been playing, Decorated Invader's run style is probably not what you want. I think you might get, he's a horse that can be very forwardly placed. So maybe it doesn't compromise him as much as I think it does. He's the horse you sort of have to begin and end. What do you think of him here? My issue tends to be that, and I realize this is a stakes race and this isn't as big of a deal here as it might be in some of the other races, but Christophe Clement, historically, the first couple of 2.5 weeks of Saratoga, he wins at like 50% or 40% or something crazy. And then all of a sudden you'll realize that the last 4 weeks of the meet, he only has, 2 wins out of 30 starts. And he'll all of a sudden finish as a 15% trainer in the meet. And it happens every year. So these Clement with Rosario horses are going to take a ton of money. This horse is going to be very overbet. And it's one that I want to try to get around. And I think Chase threw out all the names that I found interesting in here to get around him with. You have Gufo, who is, won 4 consecutive races. Horse needs some pace set up in front. It's sort of the other Clement, so I would imagine that you're going to see Decorated Invader pressing the pace, because if it doesn't work there, you're going to get the setup for Gufo. And then you got Colonel Liam in here, who's got quite a lot of pace. And if it's a conveyor belt like it is today, I think you can get really aggressive to somebody like a Colonel Liam, who's going to be forwardly placed. And JJ knows how to go to the front and press the pace and steal something on the front end. So there's a lot of options in here. Anything else? Any other ones in here you find interesting?
Yeah, Field Pass. Don't look at the Transylvania. Look two back at the Audubon at Churchill Downs. That horse took that field gate to wire. Shows a little bit of versatility, therefore, with the running. I mean, has shown some early speed before, and I don't think that necessarily Field Pass is a win contender as much as I think that Field Pass is a just fuck shit up fam contender. Like that, it depends on what Field Pass we get. Do we get a Field Pass that wants to sit back and rate, or are they going to send that horse hard like they did in the Audubon? I mean, if they send it hard like they did in the Audubon, even with it being conveyor belt, you might have the front come apart for Gufo or Guffo or however you would like to pronounce it. I think with it being so much of a wild card as to what Field Pass does, now that I'm seeing that, I think that I'm probably more likely to take the chance on Gufo than I am on another horse, price wise. And I don't have the price written down on that one, but I'll have to look it up.
9-2 on Gufo is what they had the horse as, and I do agree with you on Field Pass. If you look at that horse, there's a certain jock that's 1-for-1 on that horse, and it happens to be today's jock, which is T-Gaff, and they were very aggressive and very forwardly placed. And I think if I remember right, last out in the Transylvania, the horse stumbled a little out of the gate and sort of forced their hand. In Santana, I mean, in all honesty, Santana ended up on the horse. I don't think Santana is probably the jock that you necessarily want on the turf, so maybe the horse is a little better than that last fig comes back. And I think Field Pass makes a ton of sense in here. And there was one other I liked, but I didn't know if you're done on your Field Pass talk.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, I will say, I think, if you're a figures person, Colonel Liam's last out was really impressive. That was a massive freak for first time on grass. But the other one I found a little interesting was the other Pletcher. Colonel Liam's probably going to be the Pletcher that's going to take money, but I thought No Word was really super interesting. Of course, my screen's bugging out a little bit on me here. 1 second. No Word had that 85 last out figure. Probably needs to improve a little bit off that, but I think there's a case to be made here that if a couple of jocks here get aggressive and this gets a little spicy on the front end, you might want that horse that has that sort of first run come home, can sit that pocket trip, 3-4 lengths off, and I think that might be No Word. And quite honestly, on the Saratoga turf this year, there's been no jock that's been riding better than Jose Ortiz. And oh yeah, look who you get here. 15-1 on the morning line. I bet you get every part of that. This is a horse that gets lost a little bit in the shuffle in this race, and it seems to be a horse that's sort of improving. I think this is the distance, and the horse also is 1-for-1 at Saratoga, breaking its maiden across the turf here last summer. So I found No Word super interesting in here at a bit of a price.
Is there any concern about the Sunday Silence pedigree and making it the mile and 3/16 with No Word? Or sorry, silent name by Sunday Silence, not directly sired by Sunday Silence.
I don't actually think so. I mean, you got APND on the bottom end, so there's a bunch of pedigree, a bunch of distance pedigree. This should be no concern on the, on the bottom end pedigree wise. They're going a mile and 3/16. The horse has a win at a mile and an eighth. I understand what you're saying. Is this horse one that wants that much distance, or does it want a little shorter? But I'm not as concerned about that here. To me, if this was a mile and a half, it would be a different conversation, but it's not.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I just saw, if you look at the number of turf winners that the mare has dropped with, what's an APND mare, Listen AP, I'm seeing, out of 8 starters, getting, 6 turf winners. That's pretty impressive out of that AP line. I feel like you might have found the AP turf mare du jour right there for this. It's hard to make with the distance and with how this pace shakes up. I think Guffo is probably where my win bet lands. I'm gonna say that I'm 100% against Decorated Invader and would want to get around Decorated Invader, but probably keep as a B.
Yeah, I'm not sure here. The other horse we haven't mentioned is the, of all things, the Chad Brown Claverack horse with a rad up in Domestic Spending, who is the horse
fuck.
Yeah, that Chip Braun character. We didn't even talk about his horse, which is, I think Domestic Spending in here is definitely a usable horse. I think the horse probably ends up being a B for me. Horse is 2 or 3 lifetime, and couldn't quite get there. It was was only third by a length and a quarter in the Hall of Fame, which a bunch of these are coming out of, and but was sort of flying late. So is this a horse that the stretch out with the Street Cry on the bottom end really kind of hits this one smack in the face of this is probably the distance, and 6-1 on those connections. You're gonna feel real stupid if you let that horse go up a 6-1 and don't have it involved somewhere, and it wins and makes everyone feel like an idiot.
And ran its based on Briz career best figure after a slow break from the gate. I would like to see after I see these kind of slow breaks or a dwelled start or anything that just says the horse didn't break sharp, that I'd like to see a gate workout following that. Of course, I've never trained horses, so I don't know if there's any use to that, if there's any good to it, but I at least want to know that you're fucking trying. If there's something, an issue with the horse breaking. That's my only knock on it.
That last out work on August 8th was a bullet. So I don't think it wasn't negated, but they were probably trying to get that sort of a break.
Yeah, metal contraptions though. I want to know if they can get out of the metal contraption.
Are you implying that Domestic Spending may have a little improbable?
Yes and no. Maybe a little bit yes, probably a lot of no. I think for me when I went through and I did my first cut and I was looking at this was the average speed figure really didn't look like it could compete with the field, but I'm also looking at first off the layoff after making breaking its maiden, I'm seeing an 11-point improvement in Briz figures, but only a 1-point improvement. But now I'm seeing that step slow, and I have a feeling that probably had more to do with it than the horse being informed. So, yeah, that horse is dangerous. God damn it, as much as I hate fucking saying it. Fuck you,
Yeah,
Chad Brown.
I mean the step slow. Okay, that never helps. But I think also the swung 5 wide into the stretch didn't help either. When you get floated, especially on the inner, you get floated real wide like that. A lot of times you can sort of, as I remember, this horse had a pretty rough trip top of the stretch, and I think got ping ponged a little. I think if you watch that last race, the cliff notes might, or the race notes might not tell you the whole story. And I think this is a kind of race where you're seeing a lot of these players are coming out of the same race. Go back and watch the Hall of Fame and pay attention to the players today and see, did somebody have a rough trip? And especially in a horse that's only got 3 starts, that step forward, if in Bears terms, it went 73, 80, 89. If the horse has a clean trip, breaks evenly, maybe it runs a 97, 98, and should be a 2-1 horse here, not a 6-1 horse. That's a good way to find value.
Fucking Chip.
Damn that Chip, Ron. Yeah, so I think in closing here on this one, I can make a pretty good case for almost every horse in this race. I think this is a very deep, very competitive field. If you have an opinion, get very cute here. I think it's a great place to really slam an opinion. I think after that we're on to the Big Daddy with some roll
Alabama
with some roll tides here. I don't even know how I want to set this one up. Are we calling this the Swiss Skydiver Stakes? Is that what we're going with here, or?
Dude, I kind of thought that we would get to this one and it'd be like, all right, Swiss Skydiver. Good night, folks. We're out.
Good night, folks. We're done. That was it. Yep. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's never say never because it's horse racing, and it is. I feel like if anyone needs to get cute or even just like puppy and sailor uniforms adorable, it's going to be us. So let's say if it's not the Swiss Skydiver Stakes, the one horse that I'm excited about as just like a pace play, just like fucking throwing shit at the wall, or maybe even just a suck up horse underneath Swiss Skydiver is going to be Bonnie South. Outside of that, I really think that Swiss Skydiver should just kind of have her way and romp here. She proved that she wasn't ready to run with the boys in the bluegrass, and not that filly to run in the Kentucky Derby like everyone kind of hopes that we're gonna have. But this is not a great field, and Swiss Skydiver's pretty damn good horse. So I hate to be boring. There's not really a whole lot to talk about here. So, and we don't have Josh to fucking talk about the gold fixtures in his fucking suite or anything. So, Swiss Skydiver and a little bit of Bonnie South in the upset, a little like $2 win bet or maybe underneath in an exacta.
Okay, so when I initially looked at this race, I went down, I saw Swiss Skydiver and just went, okay, horse is controlling lone speed on a track that's been very speed favoring. This is a one-horse race, right? And, Saratoga's Graveyard of Champions, and I think it's good to do a little bit of a deeper dive in here. And the one thing that scares me here with Swiss Skydiver is this is the first time this horse has ever tried to go this far. We're adding 1/8 of a mile off from that bluegrass race. And pedigree to me does not scream a horse that wants to get a classic distance. You got Daredevil on top. He's more of a sprint influence in my head. And then you got Johannesburg, who also is more of a sprint influence on the bottom end. Eventually, I think a horse like this has to hit a wall. I like the horse. The horse she's been just great, and she's been one of the top couple of fillies in training. Obviously, they're going to probably go Breeders' Cup Distaff with her. She's all that moving forward, but she's going to get a real class or distance test here. And I was at Saratoga the day Rachel Alexandra lost in the personal ensign. They tried to stretch her out, and she was in the lead by quite a bit top of the stretch, and then she just was done. And I almost wonder, do you get a little bit of that with Swiss Skydiver here? Can she actually get the distance? The problem that I run into is sort of what Chase said. Who do you get that beats her in here? Like, who is that horse that can sort of jump up and find the distance? I agree, Bonnie South makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily love the Baffert shipping in. I think you have the same sort of a distance issue there. The one horse that I sort of was a little intrigued by in here on, that I trust can get the distance is, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to screw up this name, and Josh is never going to let me live it down. Evuptante, the one, with Jose Ortiz up. Uncle Mo on the top end, Bluegrass Cat on the bottom. To me, that's pedigree that says he can get the distance. Didn't run a bad Ashland. Was third to Speech and Venetian Harbour, who we know are both very legitimate horses. And this is Ken McPeak is somebody he's 1 for 3 at Saratoga this year. He's 44% in the past year when he uses Jose Ortiz. This is a horse that has also had a consistently improving pattern. Every race gets just a tiny bit better. And
Oaks points are on the line here, correct?
I would think so. Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't know that for sure because everything changed so much this year. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so it's a little bit delayed this year because of COVID and the Kentucky Derby and everything, but Derby points and Oaks points matter. Mm-hmm. Swiss Skydiver is in the Oaks. Yep. She's 100% in the Oaks. Invutante, very fucking dangerous because if this is an Oaks race, that could be another horse for McPeak in the Kentucky Oaks. So it might be the instructions on Swiss Skydiver is if she wins, she wins, but don't push her too hard. Just let her run her race. I hit was it a couple years ago last year hit Roadster on that exact same angle, beating very superior horses because playing Kentucky Derby math of Bob wants to get as many horses in the gate as possible. So that actually, considering now seeing Kenny McPeak with 2 entries here makes me want to say that I'm going to take a stab at the upset with Invutante.
Chat is saying it's Envoûtante, apparently, and that I just horribly mucked up the pronunciation of that horse's. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, But, yeah, I will trust John Massey because he is normally correct on these kind of things. But
yes, he's working on a PhD. Much smarter than both of us.
He's much smarter than both of us. And he has a background in his PhD that he's going to know those types of things. So if he says it's Envoûtante, I will take Envoûtante. But yeah, that was the horse that jumped out at me. And I will say there's a certain game theory aspect of this play as well because Swiss Skydiver is going to take all the money. And if you're playing a pick 3, a pick 4, a pick 5, everybody is singling Swiss Skydiver. Everyone. And back to that personal ensign, and I probably shouldn't say this so too loud, but I hit a 5-figure pick 4, and that was back in the dollar base bet pick 4 days. I had about a $10 pick 4 that went through Rachel Alexandra, and I bought the rest of the field on a $1 ticket. There was one other price in the sequence that wasn't hard to come up with, and the pick 4 paid $26,000. So you get paid if you get around those types of horses, and if it's one I can't make excuses for, or I can't get around, I can't find a reason to beat, okay. I have reasons in here that I think are legitimate. Also the reasons you said, which I wasn't even thinking about, that, yeah, they're telling T-Gaff, hey, if you get to the top of the stretch and you hit her once or twice and she's just not feeling it, tuck it up, wrap it in. We're pointing towards the Oaks. We have bigger fish to fry. This doesn't matter. It's only a $500,000 payday.
Yeah, the Oaks is going to look a whole lot better whenever they're looking for horses to breed to her than it is, with the Alabama. That's Oaks points and Derby points matter. That math matters, and you can find some great horses with that, especially when you have these sort of dual entries from 2 trainers.
Oops. Yeah, no, very much agreed, man. Very, very much agreed.
Spice is nice. Horses improving, second off the layoff, maybe. But they all kind of fit that same running style, and I feel like it's going to be one horse of a running style, and then it's going to be someone completely different. And the someone completely different is Bonnie South. But it's a Juddmonte homebred. You get the Hat Cax training. Second off the layoff, really threw a fucking dud in the Ashland, though. Won the Fairgrounds Oaks, but, who did you run against? Absolutely nobody. Got Tappet on the bottom, so you think it's gonna be able to handle the distance, and then you get Irad up. But if you look at Irad and Brad Cox, 0 for 4 in the last 60 days. So, that's Bonnie South is purely a pace play, which it's going to be up to the track as to if it will let it play fair to the pace or not.
Yeah, I mean, my one thing with, and again, we're talking a race that's probably, we're going to talk this one to death, but Bonnie South to me is a horse that, yeah, it's a Juddmonte homebred, but it's also a horse that I look at and I see Munnings on the top, and then I see, okay, Tappet on the bottom, so distance there, but Munnings is not really a distinct influence. That's a speed influence. And, the distance Tommies don't scream off the page at you. So maybe this horse can stretch out. And I honestly, I understand your pace play. The idea that Swiss Skydiver goes stupid on the front end, sets this up, and somebody like a Bonnie South can sit that pocket trip and steal. Totally like it. And I know Dennis is going to give me some flack here if I don't mention him in chat. So he was talking about Crystal Ball, who last out was absolutely hard ridden the entire race, and he doesn't think the horse gets the distance. I 100% agree with him. I think Crystal Ball in here is a takeout reducer. I think this is the kind of horse that it does not have the pedigree top or bottom to be able to get the distance, and a horse that if you watch that last race, that horse was getting pushed the entire time. So I think this is one that as Chase would probably say here, it's a horse that you use if you're playing a try or a super, you use maybe on top, or you throw it completely off your ticket. I think this is a horse that probably gets headed and stops.
Yeah, the only other horse that I see that might interest me here is Harvey's Little Goyle, who's coming off of a win on the turf, but you've got American Pharaoh up top and you've got Tappet on the bottom. Won a graded stakes on the turf, and then just got absolutely run into the ground by Swiss Skydiver and Venetian Harbor at Oaklawn in the fantasy. So it's really hard to make some sense of Harvey's Little Goyle, especially with you've got a stake win at Aqueduct. You ship them down south to Oaklawn, and then basically these other horses run lights out. Maybe Harvey's Little Goyle just said fuck it for the day, and then you run her back at Churchill Downs in a graded stakes on the turf. Second attempt at it, and she runs a big race and wins a graded stakes. So American Pharaoh Babe have been a little bit better on the turf. But, I have it on good authority that tomorrow is Bill Mott's cousin's mom's birthday. Saturday is.
Saturday, yeah. Yeah, I not to counter your point just for the sake of countering it. I do very much agree with what you're saying. My concern really here is hasn't this horse been given the class test and sort of exposed? You had those first, and so I will say a couple things. I'm trying to get a little deeper into my thought process here when I talk these things through. First race was on turf. That makes me think that was the intended surface. So winning the last out seems to be the surface that I would keep this horse on. I understand why Bill's Nutmout's taking the shot because that's where the money is. But when I see a horse who had some improving patterns, so they sort of went maiden special weight. Oh, hey, we got to win on dirt. And then they just stepped up to an overnight stakes. Oh, hey, we got to win there. They put the horse into the G3 Fantasy and got annihilated. They just got destroyed. So there's two ways to look at it. Either maybe that wasn't the day, something happened, there was a bit of quite the layoff line there. Maybe the horse needed to start. The other way to look at that is, Swiss Skydivers and the Venetian Harbors of the world are just that much better. And when you put this horse in that level, we found the level where the horse doesn't fit and the horse needs easier, and you're again getting put back in the deep end of the pool here off that turf win. So for me, I kind of want to say turf horse, and I also want to sort of say this is a little bit too deep of a pool.
I mean, it's fair. You're looking at that fantasy. Well, that was May 1st, day before the meet ended, where we had kind of those conveyor belt rail. I could see that maybe they just saw that Swiss Skydiver was gone. And I mean, Venetian Harbor, she didn't give Gamine a race, but she hung with Gamine for a little bit. And I mean, there was a little bit of anger from the connections because they wanted Venetian Harbor on the lead, and Rosario didn't really, didn't send like they were hoping.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't think that would be possible. I don't think. Well, it's not that I don't think it matters. I think that even if you tried to put that horse in the lead, you're running versus a horse that's just faster. I understand the logic of, oh, let's send and let's go to eye and make her really. I don't think she's fast enough. I don't think she has the turn of foot to physically be able to do that.
Latruska
Yeah.
tried it. She did it. Latruska was up there and said, let's get up here and battle and make Gamine run and actually work for a lead. And we saw what happened. I mean, very close to a track record that's been in existence for 40 years and was under a hand ride in the stretch.
She was wrapped up.
Yeah, and still just going. Just trying to play devil's advocate. Otherwise, the Alabama is super fucking boring. Kind of like watching Alabama in a national championship game most of the time, where they just roll right over whoever they're playing.
Oh, the pun! It was terrible, but it was there.
Yep, low hanging fruit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say, I think Chase, you're probably saying Swiss Skydiver is the horse you're putting on top. I'm going to be contrarian and use Envoûtant, who I bet everybody else on the face of the planet is seeing the same things that we've been talking about, and I would imagine this horse is going to be more like 4-1 come post time.
I more than likely would use Swiss Skydiver along with Envoûtant. Is that it? Envoûtant?
I will let our our expert at language reply in chat here.
Yeah, I'm more than likely going to use them as co-A's, but I mean, looking at the morning line, you've got Swiss Skydiver at 1-1. Like, fuck it, yeah, Envoûtant, absolutely. I will take a win bet flyer at that. Why not? I can't see a reason why not to try it, and then maybe cover your ass vertically, with the horizontal instead of.
This is the perfect spot if you're sort of an AB or an AC style player. You put 90% of your money through Swiss Skydiver and 10% of it through Envoûtant, and then let the cards fall where they will. Hey, you took a shot and whatever. I wouldn't try to hard single this horse. On paper, Swiss Skydiver is the best horse in the field. That's not the argument. The argument is sort of I can poke some holes in that case. If you're somebody with a smaller budget, maybe a single Envoûtant, and if you're contrarian and you want to try that. But I think I want to say Swiss Skydiver wins this race probably 9 out of 10 times, but that 1 out of 10 times is how you get paid. So.
Mark, I'm drunk.
It doesn't take much these days, does it, man?
No, I was drinking well before we started, so
Cool. Hey, and Dennis, it's getting better, but I'm hoping if it, I'm gonna leave the got a little air in the bottle now. We'll let it sit for a little bit, see if it opens up a little. Maybe the flavors get a little better, kind of a little more complex, but it's still a little. It's good, but not phenomenal.
I've moved on to a tumbler of Tullamore Dew. It's getting sad and Irish over here.
Ooh. So, any other races on this Saturday card that you were interested in?
I've capped all the way through the Friday card. I have not taken a look at anything outside of the stakes card on Saturday.
So, anything on the Friday card you find interesting that you want to talk about?
Let me look through real quick.
I can get back over there pretty quick. I was going to say there were a couple of races that I thought you could get really sort of aggressive around. I'll put up a Saratoga daily for tomorrow's card. And, obviously I had the one today where I was I got the 2 hard legs right and screwed up the middle easy leg, but because pretty much when I saw dirt was absolutely unplayable because nothing made any sense today. But I thought that this Friday card looked really, really good. I don't know, any races in here that you liked a lot?
Well, I will be betting the notorious RBG just out of principle because I love that name.
Horse?
The second, I believe.
Yeah, it is the second, the 6th, the Notorious RGB, who probably is the favorite and probably is a deserving favorite. Comes out of Lady Shipman, getting a lot of class relief here, kind of the right sort of run style to be good in here. Yeah, I like that one quite a lot as well. My problem is with that name, this horse is going to take a ton of money.
It's really kind of like a Belmont Friday card with a overnight stakes, slapped in race 4. So let's look at the ninth here, the
The
feature.
feature, yeah. No, I mean they've been doing this a lot on Fridays where they have these what they refer to as a matinee card where they move the feature earlier and then if you're somebody that wants to see the feature and then go party in Saratoga or whatever, it's free late. I don't know why they did it in a COVID year, but they've done it the past few years and it's okay.
You've got Mr. Alec running back in the feature, which for one looked really strong last out, but the takeaway is going to be, as you mentioned, the heat check on the Clement barn has really kind of come back a little bit wanting over the last few days. So, can you beat Mr. Alec? Because I would want to think that that more than likely that the horse might not fire, and it's going to more than likely be the morning line favorite. So there's not a whole lot of speed outside of that. There's the horse Can't Help Believing, which I wasn't really a fan of. Then you've got a few Chads entered here. So, that feels like with the amount of entries, looking at the scratches of the pace setups and everything, that if you don't believe in Mr. Alec, you can maybe get a little price there.
I don't believe in Mr. Alec personally. I have that horse as a B, just on my soft fade of Clement because it's a little late in the meet. To me, the race begins and ends with voting control. I realize I'm talking about that trainer that you don't like to discuss, but if I can get him at 5-2, I don't feel like I'm eating too much chalk. And I think voting control is the horse I want in there, who I think will be a little more forwardly placed if the track is playing how it has been, and is a horse that can absolutely fly late. And he's honestly probably getting a little bit of class relief here. And the other one is here. I have a bit of a price that I like in here, and I don't know if this is one you saw or saw what I had seen, which is oh god, again another name that I'm going to need John's help pronouncing. Buddha Boonin, the 11. Manny Franco up for Cornelio Iglesias. He does not have a win yet on the meet, but this is a horse that sort of had some funky layoff lines. You're getting some pretty solid connections, and if you're an optics player, this horse kind of jumped off the page on optics. This was a horse that was one of those, I can't remember if it was a Q1 or Q2 square. Let me get that up because I don't have the right optics up, but you talk for a second while I get the optics up.
Oh, sorry, I was just talking to Keep Pounding about how Josh stole my big shout out to Keep Pounding fucking thunder earlier. I mean, Bunda Boonin, I mean, looks pretty good. Hasn't won at the 62.5 optional claiming or conditional claiming level, but the speed figures are there. I mean, the horse is solid. The horse wears underwear with dick holes in it. I mean, just a fucking stud. We like this horse. I'm sorry, I was just prompted by Keep Pounding, so that of course does not make sense. But he wanted me to work that in.
No, I was gonna say, I think, because I finally got the optics up. This is a horse that you're getting a bunch of speed horses in here. There's a bunch of forwardly placed horses. This is gonna be an honest pace. And if you look at this big old lone Q2 square that's up there, those are kind of interesting when you can get them at a bit of a price. I don't think this horse is a super likely winner. Figs aren't fast enough, but if that setup comes just right, this is one that can come rolling down the lane.
Telling you, optics is it's a crack in the 80s. It's all fun. You're partying. You're trying this new thing. Hey, it's cheap. It's got baking soda. I think I tasted eggs and cinnamon.
Okay, John
goes to a dark place.
John Massey says Bunda Boonin, as apparently.
All right, that works. I mean, the other speed that's in there outside of Mr. Alec, are they really anything other than cheap speed? I guess is my question. I mean, it could be that even though the Clement barn is closing off, that this one just kind of wins, by attrition, by being the only horse that's shown that it's worth a damn at any sort of distance and can run out on the lead for a long time. That's I'm not saying that other horses haven't shown that they're worth a damn at the distance. I'm saying that this is the one that has shown that it's worth a damn at the distance, running on the lead and going fast early. Hard to look around it, but you have to kind of discount it with the Clement barn right now.
Yeah, I was just say. Well, I mean, and we say the Clement Barn right now. This is a historical thing. It normally happens. It might not happen this year,
Oh,
but
I think it's there. I do think that you've distinctly seen a
his
drop
past five or
drop
six
off.
mounts have not been great. Yeah, the past couple days. But the other one that's going to be a forwardly placed horse that you haven't talked about, and it seems like a chase kind of horse, is Conviction Trade, the 7. T-Gaff up for Abreu. Abreu's 40% on the meet. He's been absolutely on fire, and he does really well with Gaff up. Horse is getting a distance test here, but I mean, to me, T. Gaff is a better turf jock than a Dylan Davis or a Manny Franco over the last couple of mounts. Does this one, make you?
It's a $35,000 horse. It's shown twice that it can't run at the 62.5. That's why I did not consider Conviction Trade. That's one thing that I look at quite a bit is I'm looking for back class of have you been able to win at this class. In your previous start, did you win at a lower class and this is a logical move up for you? Did you fail at a higher class? Is this a logical step down for you? You've had your crack twice at Belmont at the same price, running with the same kind of conditions, and so I just don't think that Conviction Trade is necessarily a classy enough horse here.
100%. That's one of those takes that I either way you went, I wasn't gonna have a problem with it. But I very much respect that take. It's not something most people look at anymore. Is class moves, but you are right. This horse has failed twice at this class. I'm playing more on the jockey move to a jock I think is higher percentage with Abreu, but I very much respect the idea that this one isn't workable in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an issue of like stakes races and things like that, you can kind of get past class with horses that are moving up. I mean, if they're there for a reason. I feel like when you look at claimers, I mean, there is a business to claiming. There's a reason. I mean, you are setting the market price with how you run, and that horse has not proved to be worthy of the market price of $62,500. Of course, there's all sorts of caveats to that. With you're running at 62.5 at Gulfstream versus running for this price other places, but when it comes down to it, the U.S. dollar is worth the same at any track that you go to.
I was going to say, not to be contrarian or to pick on Chase, but minus the horse's first start, the horse has never actually been in for a tag.
Fair. Still, run at the same level against horses that theoretically should be in, could be in for a tag at the same price.
Valid. Completely valid. Did you happen to, because the one and only Dennis Trusty is asking, did you happen to take a look at the stakes race on Sunday?
I haven't yet. I haven't seen PPs. What do we got?
It is the Saratoga Oaks on Sunday, which tends to be a very good race. I have not looked at it either, so I can take a fresh, clean look while we're both live here.
Go for it. I don't have PPs. I'm just going to look at the entries and see if any names pop up for me.
Yeah, I still just have earlies personally, so I'm getting that up. 1 second here. Yeah, let's see who we got in here.
Enola Gay is not a bad horse for Shug.
No, I would say Enola Gay is not. Antoinette was a horse that was a big hype horse that just really hasn't lived up to the hype. Let's see who else is in here. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a very competitive race, just in looking at it. I think Enola Gay is sort of the horse of the now. If Enola Gay takes a step forward off that Appalachian, this should be a walk in the park, and probably has the right run style in here, where you want to be a little more forwardly placed on the turf. There's a bunch of, if she doesn't, and if she just got the perfect setup, with Walking Marrakesh in the front end and Alms setting it up for her in the last out, there's a bunch of pretty salty competitors in here that are kind of interesting.
Yeah, the name Antoinette shows up just in the PPs for the Saratoga Derby that we were looking at with Rushing Fall and Sister Charlie. That's been there class wise. It might have not been the Derby. It might have been the Hard Sting, whatever, the one tomorrow. but yeah, uh, I'll have to take a deeper look at this because right now I'm just kind of looking at
Yeah, I was gonna
who,
say
who's
if
drawn
you're
in.
if you're a company you keep kind of person, Antoinette is one of the. Antoinette got beat last out by Crystal Ball and Paris Lights. Obviously, Crystal Ball is running in the Alabama. Paris Lights is a monster. Prior to that, it was Sweet Melania and Highland Ground, and comicals in here. There are some legit horses that Antoinette has been facing. So this could be, I mean, if Enola Gay it lives up to the hype, Enola Gay is probably your horse, but Antoinette makes some sense in here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
plus, I mean, oh, it's a Godolphin horse. With Bill Mott, and I'm a firm believer in what Bill Mott is doing right now. He has trotted out some horses that have run really well as first timers, and it seems like these horses that are getting prices that aren't even if they're not winning, he's getting them there a close second. So Antoinette,
Yeah.
Antoinette, and then plus I like saying Go Dolphin too because it reminds me of like an off-brand like superhero team from my childhood.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other one here that probably bears mention is "Speak to Me of Summer," who won the Lake Placid, and the horse is 305 lifetime 1-for-1 at Saratoga. Excuse me, and is another one of those types that obviously I'm putting a soft fade on the Clement barn, but this one is one of the type. My soft fade on the Clement barn is more when I see them in allowances and in optional claimers. So his stakes horses, he has a very good barn of stakes horses, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if this one is very live here as well.
The man can wear a pink shirt too. That's just
Dude,
something.
or pink pants, like salmon pants. He can rock anything. He's got.
Something about that Franco, heritage that he has, that really the as a people, the French can rock a pink shirt and pink pants.
Oh man. On that note, I think we've had enough Chase Sesums for the night. So we are on the wrong lead. I told Chase I would keep this somewhat short so his back doesn't kill him. I can see him getting pretty antsy over there, so I want to get him let him get off. We are on the wrong lead.
You did this to me.
If you are not a Discord person, link to Discord is in the description. Hop in, chat with us all. We're all on there during the day, and we can any questions you have, we can definitely work through them with you. And also we have a link to AM Wager where you can get we have some pretty solid sign up bonuses. They have about a 10% reward through your first $500 worth of rewards, which is pretty solid and one of the better sign-up bonuses in the industry. So until next time, we are on the wrong lead. Hopefully I don't have to host too many more of these, or at least Josh gets me the right graphic and Caleb decides to show up.